Welcome back to my library puzzle factory thing. So I won the Super Bowl single-handedly, as you can see by my shirt. So that qualifies me to talk about the topic for this video, which is, now you can see me a bit better, but which is, for this video, is textbooks for technology versus online courses like on Udemy. So what are the differences? What are the cons? What are the pros? So I'm going to talk about it based on three criteria. So number one is going to be, I guess, cost. Two will be like how long it takes, and then three would be, of course, what knowledge you get. So let's get to it. Don't forget to triple click the like button for YouTube algorithm, as these courses don't write themselves. Not that I have a course, but yeah, if I make one day. So online courses are really interesting because pretty much anyone can make an online course. You can go on Udemy and you just type in create course and you can be a creator just like that. You don't have to know anything. And that's why it's always risky to buy those kind of courses because they aren't always reputable. You don't actually need to know the subject matter. Like I tried to make a course and it was really easy. Is just go in there and do it. Because they take part of the profit. They want to make it as easy as possible. So I can make a course teaching people Cobalt, the Cobalt code language, even though I don't know anything about Cobalt. I mean, I don't know much about Cobalt, like on how it works and syntax and like that. And people would believe that I know Cobalt because I have a course on it. They'll probably think, yeah, this guy knows his stuff. He created Cobalt like 15 million years ago, but I didn't. Usually, there's more stringent requirements. For example, for writing a textbook, you got to get it like co-authored, or not necessarily co-authored, but you need to have it edited and stuff like that. You need to know what you're talking about if you're making a textbook. So I would usually say it's more trustworthy to have a textbook. And on the topic of time, I want to say it's usually less time to get through a Udemy course than it is to get through like a tech or code textbook. That's usually, but usually there's courses, like on average like 10 hours long, like a couple hours long courses that go through the subject in a lot of detail. I mean, of course, it's not perfect detail, but generally the courses are going to be much shorter than textbooks. So depending on how stringent your time requirements are, I would go for the course if you don't have much time to study. So onto the knowledge differential between courses and textbooks. This is probably what you came here for. There's always going to be more knowledge in the textbook, pretty much always, because it's going to be right there in front of you, and you don't have to like go back in time, like see when they said something. You have it all there. They have it like an index in the back to see like for each topic is. I mean, you might have something similar in a course, but it's almost always going to be more detailed, and that's simply because it's easier to type something than to or write something into text than to say it out loud. It always takes more time, and always, well, I mean, I wouldn't say always more knowledge in textbook because there's some textbooks that like have like one word or like they don't have many words, they're very short. So it depends on the course and the textbook, of course, but I want to generally say there's more knowledge that you can get from a textbook, from most textbooks. And that doesn't mean it's always useful knowledge though, because they could have a lot of words, maybe some pictures in textbooks, but what do they have in terms of useful knowledge is a good question. Because I want to say there's usually hands-on exercises, they have quizzes at the end, they have projects you can try in online courses. And what do they have in textbooks? Yeah, they might have some exercises as well. They might not be as in-depth or like as creative or sometimes, but sometimes they can be creative, but not always. But I do want to say that the exercises generally in online courses like on Udemy are going to be much better for learning. So one quote I want to say is, "You don't know anything until you practice." So that's a quote from Richard Feynman. He's a famous physicist. There's my physics background coming in for this. I'm getting a call. All right, now before I go and look at specific courses and textbooks, I want to like look at costs. So this varies a lot by the author. So when you think of a textbook, you think of a required textbook for a class that costs like $300 that you read once and you just immediately like don't use again. You sell it for like $10 on the textbook black market. But if you look in the right place, you could find a solid and cheap textbook for like $40 on Amazon or something like that. And that'll give you all the information you'll need. You'll read that like for years to come. You'll reference it for your children. And yeah, you could, but it could go out of date really easily as well. And that's really an important point there. Like a textbook will more often go out of date than a course because people update courses generally. And if they don't update the course, then they'll sell a new one. And if they sell a new one, then they have to rewrite the course, and that takes a lot of effort and time. So people generally will update the course first before making a new one if technology advances, which technology almost always advances nowadays really quickly, like within a year or two. There's a whole new version, React 15. There's new languages that come out that make things faster and better, which is really great. But textbooks don't have a way to update that. So take that in mind for when you make your decision. So you can also find like some courses for really cheap. I want to say courses are generally more cheaper than textbooks as well. I'm not trying to say courses are always the best. It really depends on your learning style. But they're generally cheaper, they're generally more updated, and generally better. I want to say quality as well, because probably more people are going to read the courses, so they're going to spend more time, or not read courses, I mean watch the courses, or however content format. I know like Udemy always has like sales for like $10, so it should be cheaper for an online course as well, because like they say it's a sale, but it's like always a sale. Like, I don't know why. I think that's just so they can get you into the door and buy something and get addicted. All right, so now I want to look at some specific examples on Udemy, because I'm not like biased or sponsored by Udemy, but I just want to say that probably one of the more popular online courses, of course YouTube, it's probably the most popular, like for courses in general, or because it's free. But I want to say this is the most popular for like good quality, I guess, paid content. I don't know if anything's free. I don't think it's free. I haven't seen anything free. But anyways, I'm on the Udemy course. I just want to like look at the first one, I guess, first course, and let's see if we can get a comparable textbook to it. So I guess first course is Complete Python Bootcamp from Zero to Hero in Python. And yeah, that sounds pretty good for $85. I mean, if you get a job for that, like making $85K a year, just off of that, that's like a 1,000 times increase, or 1,000 times the amount of money you get back. But anyways, 22 hours, what do you get? 22 hours, 14 articles. I don't know this. I'm not sponsored by any of this. I haven't taken it. 19 coding exercises. That's okay, I guess. Seems like 20. That's only like one coding exercise an hour. It seems like a little, but I'm not really sure. Full lifetime access. Okay. Is it updated? Probably, because it's #1 on Udemy, so it better be updated. Let's see how many people have taken it. 346,000. That's a good number. 1 million students. Oh, okay. So like a third of them rated it. So that's pretty good as well. So I would say, yeah. I mean, there's a reason. Probably this is why #1 on Udemy. But if we look at same thing like for Python, like let's say if I search Python, I don't even know if I want to search. I won't search textbook. We'll just search Python. See what we get. And we're gonna look at the first one, because that's what I'm keeping with. The first one here. I want to say this one will probably be better because it's more expensive, but we're gonna look at the first one, and this one's probably more in depth as well, because this one is just a crash course. But let's just look at the first one, just for the sake of it. It's cheaper. Notice that it's cheaper because I don't know why I was looking at this one before, but this one is cheaper than the course. So maybe it's not always cheaper to have a course be than a textbook, because this one isn't being updated. Just remember that. And this was 2019. They probably updated Python a couple times since then. There's probably things out of date in this textbook, but it's really cheap. And is it going to be useful? I mean, probably, depending on your learning style. Okay, and I guess you can compare it. Like some of these textbooks are like 592 pages. Are you going to actually read all those pages? I mean, sure. Okay, this one is beginner. Okay, so it probably won't teach you everything, because this one you'll become a hero. This one you'll probably just become like an intermediate, because that's right after beginner, right? But fast-paced, thorough introduction, Python 3, okay, cool. Django, MATLAB, Plot, and Plotly, and Pygame. So whatever. So I feel like this one's for a more younger audiences, since reading age is 12 and up. But yeah, you get 540 pages. You probably get a bunch of exercises as well. I'm not sure. So at the end of the day, my opinion is unless you want something out of dated and really cheap, I would go for the course, because the course is going to be most of the time, or a lot of the time, is going to be really cheap. It's going to be updated probably very frequently because people want to make as much money as they can. And honestly, you'll probably learn more because the exercises are going to be better. You can see cool videos on how people actually do the technology, because it's hard to teach that in the textbooks. So that's the end of this video. I hope you liked it, and I hope you learned something from it, found it enjoyable or whatever. If you have not already subscribed, make sure you do that and like the video and all that. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.